शुभं करोति कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदा शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते।
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 32nd session of Tuesday webinars. As always, it's our endeavor to bring to you varied topics that are going to be useful to each and every educator. And today's topic is also like any other topics that we have had, but all the more reason it is more significant because each and everybody in the field of education is talking about this topic. Now, a CRD has always thought and believes that each and every educator is a person of resource, and hence we need to get together and share these resources with other educators. And for that, CRD invites your educators to share your expertise with other educators as a resource person. Over to you, Uma ma'am.
Thank you, Deepa ma'am. A very good evening to one and all. On behalf of Center of Resource Development for Educators, I, Mrs. Uma Mahesh, welcome you all to our 32nd session of Tuesday webinars. Before we begin with our session, a brief about Center of Resource Development for Educators. Center of Resource Development for Educators is the initiative of educators Dr. Suresh Nair and Mrs. Deepa Desai. President of Center of Resource Development for Educators, Dr. Suresh Nair, a state teacher awardee, joined Vivek Vidyalaya and Junior College in the year 2006 after serving for KC College about 18 years as a professor of physics. His visionary endeavor in the field of education paved the way to fetch him an array of accolades. He is a co-author of physics textbooks for junior colleges and MHT CET for engineering entrance examination. Secretary of CRDE, Mrs. Deepa Desai. Mrs. Deepa Desai has been in the field of education for more than 37 years and is a recipient of many awards for her work. Former principal of 𝐅𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐴 Juhu, an ICSE school, the founder principal of Mahapragya Public School Kalba Devi, a CBSE school in South Mumbai, and former head of IAS Manik Vidya Mandir. She is a woman of many talents. Her rich experience and educationist also made her an innovative and knowledgeable trainer for the CBSE and Sri Kelvani Mandal schools in Shirpur, Dhule. Center of Resource Development for Educators is a platform where teachers and educators are manured to excel and mentor the student community through local and international mentorship. CRDE offers opportunity to experiment and implement ideas, innovations, and collaboration to achieve performance and continuous professional excellence. CRDE is where confluence of like-minded individuals share and imbibe knowledge, experience through interaction, deliberation, and international exposure. As Deepa ma'am has already mentioned, every webinar we have an esteemed personality who presents a very important topic, of course, the same way. Today also, we have a very important and eminent personality, Mr. 𝐻𝐸𝐽𝐜𝐽, President and Advisor, National Education Policy, Education Inclusion and Digitization. Mr. 𝐻𝐸𝐽𝐜𝐽 has 36 plus years of experience in information technology, banking, payments, telecom, and education domain expertise. He has previously worked with global organizations like HCL America, FIS, NCR, and Atos Worldline by leading in diversified professional teams and projects globally to drive financial inclusion. He is currently driving Education Ministry, Principal Association, Education Institutes to drive National Education Policy implementation, Global Education and Training Institute to drive disruptive education, and Education Supply and Franchise Forum as an advisor. Today, we have Mr. Ajay with us, who will be presenting the topic, National Education Policy, Real World Education, which is a dire need today. Over to you, sir. We welcome you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the introduction. So today's agenda, we will just briefly go through. So we will briefly talk about the education heritage, what we have it in India. And that's very important that we should understand what we used to do earlier and how important it is to follow some of the procedures or the methods today. We will talk about national education policy in detail that, there are various segments as far as the NEP is concerned. So we'll talk about that and how important they are. We will speak about that. And then we will talk about NEP implementation pattern and what are the benefits we will get it out of NEP. That's a brief agenda, what we have it for today. So now going to the first slide, see, as far as India is concerned, we have a very rich heritage as far as the education is concerned. The earlier days, we used to have the Gurukul concept, like we had very famous Gurukuls like Nalanda, Takshashila, Vallabhi, and so on, where we used to send our children for the multidisciplinary teaching. It was not only academics, but they used to teach variety of subject, whether it's mathematics, whether it's astronomy, or whether it's a medical, science, sports, civil engineering, and so on. And that used to be a focus as far as the Gurukuls are concerned. And the main motto of those Gurukuls was to give the multidisciplinary teaching to the students and ensure that they get required skills and required work when they grow up. That was the whole concept of the Gurukul concept in the earlier days. Now time has come that we should nurture and preserve those practices in the today's world. And why I'm saying that, it's very clear that today, if you see the job landscape, what we have, job landscape is changing dramatically. There are a lot of jobs are taken over by the machines. I mean, if you take the earlier days, that we used to have the typists, we used to have the telephone operators, those jobs are disappeared because of the computer. Then subsequently, now a lot of factory jobs are taken over by the machines, robots, and so on. In the recent time, you'll see that watches, the digital watches are taken place of the mechanical watches. Same goes with the cars. The cars are getting replaced with the electronic vehicles. So a lot of expertise, a lot of skills which people used to have and people used to run the business or they used to do the job are getting disappeared. Now, if you see the recent time, people must have heard about the ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, and so on. And those techniques are replacing the majority of jobs in the back end in terms of the call centers, in terms of the risk kind of fraud areas, and so on. So basically, if we don't gear up and if you don't acknowledge the importance of how to learn and what to learn in the today's world, people are going to be jobless. I'm not saying that people will lose a job and there will be a chaos, but what I'm saying is you need to keep on enhancing yourself, your skills, so that you'll get a required jobs and required skill sets in the future. So basically, what we need to do is we need to make the education very enjoyable, and then our focus should be to fulfill the employment and not only to give the academics or give the education in the academics and the other areas. just for the sake of it. Because see, what we've seen in the recent past is there's a major focus on standard 10, standard 12. People are dying for getting the 90+%, but at the end of the day, what happens? These people, when they move forward in the career, they don't get the job even after doing the engineering, unless and until they have the required skill sets which are required by the businessman or the businesses. So that's the reason we need to get some of the practices what we used to have it in the past in the recent education, and that's exactly NEP is going to do. So we will go to the next slide, which is about the NEP. So why national education policy and what are the highlights? Now, see, if you see that in 2022, there's a major spend as far as the education is concerned. The 6% of the GDP has been allocated for the education field, vis-a-vis the 1.7% what we used to have it in the 2021-22. So what's the focus of the NEP? NEP is they are trying to have the 100% youth and adult literacy. That's their motto number one. And second is they want to ensure that whatever you learn has to be useful in terms of getting the employment or getting the jobs in the future. So that's a key motto as far as the NEP policy is concerned. Now, what are the amendments that they are done? They are changed the, they are changed the education pattern. They are replaced 10.2 by 10+2 by 5+3+3+4 structure. And there's going to be a major focus as far as the research, innovation, and the quality is concerned. And there are 4 pillars what they are defined, that the education has to be accessible to all the people. It should be equitable, it should be quality education, and it should be affordable. And if you see that in today's world, there's a lot of dropouts in terms of the education. If I go to the next slide here, see, in earlier days, what we used to say that when we say literacy, we used to say that reading and writing is nothing but it's a literacy. But what we are seeing in last 10 years is our literacy rate is, though it is 77% plus, but education is not working for the various reasons, because there is a lot of dropouts because of the poverty. The female candidate, the girl child, they don't go to the school in many places. After the girl is married, she is not getting time to go to the school because of the children's, because of the in-laws pressure and so on. Then obviously the schools are too far, so people are finding it extremely difficult to commute. It's very expensive for them to go from one place to another in terms of taking the education. And obviously, a lot of students, they work during the daytime and they don't get flexibility or time to go to the school and have the education. Now, in the today's world, what is literacy? Literacy is not only reading and writing, and we will not able to resolve the problem of increase in the education and the literacy in the country unless and until it is accessible to the mass audience. Whether he is in the rural area or whether he is an urban area or whether he is too far, whether he is outside India, it should be accessible from anywhere. And in today's world, the literacy is defined into 6 different segments. One is the information literacy, like the student or the adult should know how to access the information, whether it's related to the finance, whether it's related to the loan, whether it's related to getting the Aadhaar card, whether it's related to getting the PAN card, or even getting some of the free schemes what government has already launched. The financial literacy, you see a major boom in the financial literacy. Like we have the 81% of the mobile penetration in the country, and most of the people, they do the online transactions without any hassle. I mean, Paytm is one. You go to the sabji wala and you do a Paytm, you don't carry the cash. It's not necessary that you should have the credit card and the debit card, but financial literacy is important, and people are already into it. And it is available not only in English, but it is also available in the multilingual languages also. Then the insurance or the other day-to-day transactions, that is a financial literacy. Cultural literacy is another thing, is understanding about your culture, custom. Because of the westernization, our students, our children doesn't know our culture. So people should able to access that about our culture. The superstitious is another big problem in India. So they should able to find out whether it is good for them or it is bad for them, belief and disbelief. And it is easily available through the Google or any other area. Digital literacy is a big one. The people should know how to use a digital equipment, and I'm glad to say that most of the people in the country, 80% plus, are able to access the digital equipment without much of a problem and accomplish the day-to-day transaction, whether it's a financial or even using the Google Map or any other areas. The media is getting bigger and bigger, and there is a lot of viewership from the rural area, as well as there is a lot of viewership from the females also, or the girls also, as far as the schools are concerned. So people should know how to interpret the media in terms of the rumors or in terms of the other news, what is getting published over the television or the OTT or the other platform, and the critical information. There are various schemes for the poor people also, but people are not aware. And people are not aware because they don't know where to go. But if this information is available on the online, then they can easily go and adopt those skills, and get the required help, whether it's related to health, whether it's related to legal, government schemes, loan, insurance, and so on. So in the today's world, it is the literacy is not only reading and writing, but it is in the digital area. It is divided into the 6 areas where people should have the basic knowledge, and that's a focus as far as the NEP is concerned. Now, moving to the next slide. So what NEP is saying, that the NEP is trying to offer a multidisciplinary education and flexible curriculum to facilitate the creative combination of various disciplines using the digital technology. See, today what's happening is when you go to the higher standard, there is a fixed box. Like if you are in science and you can't opt the subject related to commerce, or you can't go to opt the subject related to arts and other areas. But here in NEP, you can choose your combination. You can choose your menu. So what you want to do, after 6th standard or after 9th standard, and if you feel that that's good for you, you can, make that as a career. Now, the NEP is obviously, as I said, that is a real world education, fulfilling the job requirement for the future for the students. Now, it is also divided into academics intelligence. Then the vocational is going to be a major focus moving forward, which includes your sports, arts, other cultural activities, and so on. Digital education, which is a thread among all these areas. Then the physical and the mental education, which is introduced by the government, and they are quite serious about it, and they are expecting that this implementation will happen by 2025. The EC, early child education, and the social education is also going to be a focus, because they feel that what NEP talks about is, if you focus on point number 4 and point number 5, then the children will be adopted for the education which is falling into academics, vocational, and a digital space. And that's going to be the focus. So we'll talk about each box in the subsequent slides. And what's going to be the advantage as far as this model is concerned? The advantage is you will have the privilege to choose. The student will have the privilege to choose their subject. See, the old concept of one shoes fits for all is not going to work in the future, because I may be good in mathematics, but the other person may not be good in mathematics. He may like a digital photography, or he may like a photography, and he wants to make the career in the photography. So that, but currently it's not possible, because there is no vocational concept as far as a education system is concerned. So first is I will have the privilege to choose. Then I will have the reach within the discovered passion. I can, discover my passion. I should know, the student should able to understand that where my passion is going to be, and I can make that as a career. And the flexibility, enable student to carve their own path. That's very important as far as a education system is concerned. So basically, net, what they're trying to do is give the flexibility to the students. Obviously, we are there to help them out and ensure that they get jobs moving forward. Moving to the next slide, the first one is academics. I think you must have seen this slide in the multiple forums, but what I did is I have extracted the major points which I feel are extremely important. So they are on the right hand side and the below box. I'll spell out some of the the points. One is state language student. There is no imposition of the state language, but there is a lot of push to have the mother tongue teaching up to standard 5, but it can be extended up to standard 8. The exams, they are recommending that we should not have the every year exam, but we should have the exams in standard 2, 2nd, 5th, 8th, 10th, obviously 12th. The coding has been introduced right from the standard 6, which is a computer coding. There is no rigid separation between the extracurriculum, academics, and the vocational. The student will have the flexibility to choose their subject. And I'll explain you how you can implement it or how we can have it. The extra efforts are provided to the gifted children. That's going to, which is not there. But, I mean, today we have seen that the gifted children, when they go for the admission, most of the schools are not very happy to accommodate them because you require a separate facilities, you require a separate support and so on. But there is a special provision, the financial provision has made, and there'll be a quota given to the school saying that, okay, you need to have certain gifted children in your school. Then the board exam will get redesigned. There is a PARIC committee which has been, formed, and they will decide that these exams, 10th and 12th, will be more of a objective exams. The importance of those exams will be reduced. Then major focus on the practical examination. Practical examination where student can, which can be useful or which can help them to identify their skill sets also. So sports is going to be the Olympics in India by 2036. The sports market has been untapped, so there's going to be a major focus on the sports. So there will be they are introducing sports as a special subject in the syllabus in the school. The Fit India is a part of the sports, and there are going to be a different techniques which which teachers will use moving forward. I'll talk about those techniques in the subsequent slide, where you can have this AI used, you can have the big data used, and so on. And the top rated global universities will facilitate, they will come to India, and our top universities will go abroad, and we will have the advantage of doing the the masters or maybe a bachelor. And there's a lot of encouragement. I mean, I was in Canada since last 3 months, and I visited some of the universities in Canada, and they are very keen establishing their do their courses or do have the required skill either remotely or on site in India. Not necessarily that they should go to Canada or US for getting the education. And for the undergraduates, that it's going to be before that the 11th and 12th is going to be a part of the school that everybody is aware of. And undergraduates, what will happen is, see, today what's happening is if you complete the first year and if you drop out, then you don't get anything. But that's not going to happen moving forward. If you don't continue your studies after year 1, you'll still get a certificate. If you complete, for 2 years, you'll get a diploma, 3 years, you'll get a bachelor's degree, and 4 years, you'll get a multidisciplinary master degree. Why they have done this is to ensure that higher education is concerned. Apart from the next slide, between the school and the various universities, various corporates, and so on, which I'll explain in the subsequent slides. Their aim is to have at least 50% learners going through the vocational courses, which they're trying very hard. But obviously, there are a lot of challenges because we don't have the required setup in the schools, and though they are trying to create a cluster in the government schools, it will take some time, but their focus is 30-50%. Then the education institute like cluster, we will talk about the cluster in the subsequent slides. I mean, the schools will never now onwards will not operate independently. Suppose if you are offering the robotics as one of the subject, and if your school doesn't have the setup, then you can your children's or your students to the different school, have that project done and come back and give the required grading, and that's going to be a part of the major stream. Then the open and distance learning, they are trying to focus on with the international universities, apart from the local universities. The incubation center, which they have started building, which is a government initiative, and some of the schools in Mumbai also, they are already have the incubation center where student can go and do the creative work, and if they feel that that's an interest area, they can continue the studies. Then the national committee has been established for the integration of the vocational education across the ministries, and there is going to be a collaboration with the industries. Like it may happen that you will able to send your students to the Reliance Jio for doing the project, maybe 15 days project, he gets a certificate, and he can subsequently take that as a career moving forward, depending on the interest. Then the credit-based framework is going to get established, which will be equivalent to the overseas credit system, and that will enable our students to get the admission very easily in the overseas universities, and vice versa. Now, sports, as I said, that sports are divided into three categories. It's a pre-primary school, primary school, and a middle school. Pre-primary, obviously, there's not much of a change. It's going to be a fundamental movement skills. But the pre-primary, I mean, there's going to be a the curriculum, which there'll be curriculum which they will include as part of the syllabus. And the middle school and above, there'll be a sports will be part of the curriculum, but it will be in the greater depth, and there'll be critical thinking depending on the choice of the student. If I want to make the career in this cricket or maybe a football, then I will obviously choose that as one of the subject for which school will give the grading, and I will pursue that as my career moving forward. Now, I spoke about some of the digital techniques which are going to take place which will get implemented in the near future. The first one is e-learning that we are seeing during the COVID, but that was not a true e-learning because we never had a content. We had e-learning during COVID time as if we are learning the remote classroom session, which is not going to be the case. There's a lot of content which is getting created so that the student can access that content. If suppose I'm in the 9th standard and I decide that I don't want to go to the school, I will get the material sitting at home. I will study it, and whenever I am ready, I'll go to the school and give the exam. Like integrated schools, what we have it today. Like most of the students, they after 10th or after 10, they go for the integrated classes, and they give the the medical and engineering exam. The similar concept is going to come for the lower standard also. The video assisted learning is slightly outdated because earlier days we used to have the video assisted learning, but in the near future, wherever there is no access to the internet, this video assisted learning might be available, especially in the remote areas. The artificial intelligence is going to be the major thing which will automate the basic activities. Like, see, currently what's happening is, if you take the example of 10th standard, people, the student, they solve the paper again and again. But here what will happen, if you have the AI, then you will get a multiple sets of paper automatically. You will give the exam and you will get the marks immediately. See, currently what's happening is you solve the paper, you go to the teacher, sheet, the check sheet gives the marks, and then accordingly you do a correction and you study towards that area, which is very time consuming for the student also, which is also to the teachers also. But AI will automate the thing in such a fashion that you can give it. It's very fast, and you'll get a meaningful and helpful feedback from the system. Then the blockchain technology, big data it's hand to hand. There will be no limit as far as the data storage is concerned, and it will be personalized as personal. It will be personalized data. Like when I say say for example, when you go to the Yahoo or maybe Google and you access the any email which is related to the insurance, you get a 10 emails related to the insurance because that is personalized. System knows that what you are doing on the system. Similar thing will happen as far as the schools are concerned, because once you do any activity through the AI, the system knows that what you are focusing on, what are the percentage you got it 3 months back, 6 months back, and so on, and it will intimate you because the data has been personalized by student, by standard, so that the teachers also get a convenience in terms of getting the information quite easily moving forward. The analytics is one of the is part of it. It's learning analytics. Like say whatever system you will, whatever data or whatever syllabus you will access through the IT uh, system will know that what you need. Person learning is going to be the major focus. Like currently, the virtual reality and augmented reality, we use it in the limited areas like medicine or maybe a pilot pitching, and now people have started using it in the sports also, because they can actually visualize that what's going to happen in the flight, what's going to happen in the operation theater, and so on. You know that see now the knee replacement operations or the cataract operations has been done by the machine. But how do you get the experience? You'll get the experience by using the technology like AR, VR, and that is going to be the big thing in the future. Gamification is another thing which will create a lot of interest within the students, because if the gamification is implemented, students tend to spend a lot of time, and it creates a positive learning environment for the learner. And obviously, the whole motto is they will develop the interest, and there will be less dropouts as far as the rural areas are concerned. STEAM is going to be another technology. As I said, that there will be a lot of tie-ups with the corporates, other schools, the government agencies, and so on, where hands-on practical will be given to the student. It will be a 10 to 15 days practical per semester or per year, by which he or she can decide that that's going to be my focus area and that's going to be my future. And the social media, which everybody knows that we are using it quite extensively. I've seen most of the schools, people are getting messages. They're getting the messages through Facebook and so on, saying that okay, now this is the thing, this is the syllabus which is getting loaded and so on. So all these technologies obviously is going to be the beyond the classroom. Some of the IB schools, they already have implemented some of the techniques. Students are accessing the syllabus using tabs, computers, mobile phone, and so on. But here, what will happen is a lot of things will happen which are not part of the schools. By sitting at home, you will able to do a lot of activities in the future and achieve your goals. Now, this is another thing which is government is quite serious about, the mental physical health. They are recommending that you should have the regular checkups, a reduced weight of the school bag, which is already implemented or is in the process of getting implemented. The counselor in the school, they are recommended. Obviously, when I say counselor in the school, that doesn't mean that every school should have the counselor. You can have the cluster of school where you have the one counselor and he goes to the school and he tries to understand if there are any issues with this, the special children or the normal children also. Focus on the children disabilities, that's going to be the focus. Then obviously the mandatory skill like health and the wellness, because Fit India is going to be the major focus. Why? Because see, India is the youngest country in terms of the resources. Say India is going to be the country where 70% of population is going to be below 35, and 21% of resources, the workforce goes from India. So if our children, our students are not fit, obviously the whole motto of Fit India is going to get violated. Then the early childhood education is another focus area where, you know, see, because of the nuclear family, what happens is students are not ready to collaborate. Teamwork is a problem. Sharing is a problem. Ethics, etiquettes. So all those things will be, you know, taught in the preschool areas where child is just a 1 year plus, or maybe 2.5 year old, where probably parents can accompany them, sit in the school for a couple of hours, and they will learn the etiquettes, ethics, apart from the art, culture, relations, and so on. Now, ground fact, see, I happen to be a part of the G20, some of the forums, and what I've seen is India, you know that everybody, that India is a number fifth GDP. Currently, it will become number 3 very soon. So there is a lot of global pressure as far as India is concerned. Because if we don't change, we are going to lose in the race, and you know, obviously there will be a lot of problem in terms of getting the jobs for our students. The FDI, there's a lot of foreign investment coming into India in the 61 sectors, 31 states, and they are all coming from the open route. It doesn't require any additional, you know, the approvals. The human resource, I said that 1 billion are under age 35 till 2070. And that's going to be the key as far as India is concerned. The media is becoming big. Growing female viewership is a key, and growth in the rural viewership is also important. Another thing is the digitization. I mean, you'll be amazed to see that 119 crores people have the mobile phones. 1 billion, 1.2 billion, they're already an internet user. 65 crore are the smartphone. 50 crores they access the OTP and the social media, and there's a huge investment going in that space. And if you keep this thing in mind, then we will have no choice but to get digitized as far as the education is concerned. Similarly, in the politics, the 90 million were first-time users in voters in 2020, and that they are going to, you know, obviously they will drive the change. Startup India, we know that currently 452 registered startups, and that's growing. And as I said in the previous slide, at 20%, 21% of workforce is coming from India, and that's going to be the key, and that's putting a lot of pressure on us. Similarly, with the sports also, that we want to conduct the Olympics in 2036, and this market is untapped, and the sports industry is growing at the speed of almost 14.93%. Now, how we are going to implement it? Like in the schools, between 9 to 12, there are going to be 8 semesters. Each semester will have 5 subjects, which means that student will study totally 40 subjects. And board will take the exam of 3 subjects in each semester, and 2 subject grading will be done. So here I'll have the combination of choosing any subject what I want. There could be some fixed subjects which you may have to go for, but subsequently you need to have you will have the variables, the flexible subject which you can select from the any stream. And from 9 to 12, student will have the choice of choosing the subject. As I said, that there will not be any differentiation between science, arts, or commerce, right? And the concept is based on the earn and learn from standard 12. That's going to be the focus. From standard 6, student will be exposed to the real world education. They will able to do a project either in the incubation center, or maybe corporates and so on. The duration of the project will be 10 days minimum. Based on the project, student will decide and undertake the future activities, and which will help them to earn, you know, from the standard 12. And this is a game changer as far as the entire NEP policy is concerned. And this will definitely drive the job fulfillment. It will definitely drive the dropouts also. The school clustering is another thing where, you know, government has already have the hotel incubation center implemented. Some of the schools are already gone for it in There are 326 incubation center, 15 are in Mumbai. It's a flagship initiative, and the lot of innovation and entrepreneurship in India is taught or the experience in these centers. The Atal Tinkering Lab is another thing. There are more than 8,700 ATLs in India. Almost 800 tinkering labs are in Maharashtra, 21 are in Mumbai. And this will obviously give a lot of, the encouragement, the ideas to the students. And ISRO is going to adopt 100 ATLs across the country, which obviously will create a lot of interest in the students' mind, saying that this is the area where I want to go. Similarly, they are going to have the Balwan, Samajik Chetna Kendra, and so on. See, by doing this, what will happen is there'll be it's not necessary that every school should have the specialized teacher or the specialized facility. There'll be a sharing of the resources. You can, have the sharing of the infra. Then the pairing of the school integration will be there in terms of the education. Obviously, there'll be efficiency. You don't have to wait for another 6 months for getting the grant or getting the funding from the government or the corporate or maybe your board. And then obviously you can have a lot of governance done, because at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is they're trying to push the students for the vocational courses, for the vocational degrees, which will make them fulfill after 12. Now, this is the way ecosystem will look like. The school is a center point as far as you are concerned. Obviously, you'll interact very closely with the government in terms of the education policy, funding wherever possible. Ecosystem where government is going to push the ATLs and incubation center in the government schools. Then there will be a school league table where you can have a discussion. Like when they introduced the financial inclusion, they had every month they used to have the call with the ministry, and they used to share the ideas, and accordingly we used to move. Similar thing, they are going to implement it, and obviously there'll be idea sharing and tournaments which will be scheduled not only in the sports but the other areas also. As I said that schools will interact with the other areas like Samajik Kendra or incubation centers, sports academy, and so on. And at the same time, they will have interact with the other schools, like for doing the school cluster, sharing the HRDs, faculties, and so on. And most important is it's important that like engineering college or maybe a lot of postgraduate college, they have the tie-ups with the IITs, they have the tie-up with the corporate where they come for the interviews or the placement. Similar thing is recommended for the schools also, where you can have the tie-ups with the corporates for the CSR donations, for helping the ecosystem, and the practical experience like access to their laboratories, their facilities, and so on. Job placement wherever possible. I'm not saying it's a full time, but it's a part time or the vocational jobs and so on, and the scholarships for your student. So that is how your education ecosystem will look like. The assessment will change completely. There will be an intellectual, emotional, and mental assessment. There will be grading which will be done. It will be all online, which will be driven by the AI-based software which will be released to the school. And there will be self-assessment, teachers assessment, peers assessment, and the parents assessment. And like corporate, how do you do the appraisal? Similar fashion will be implemented in the school, so that there is a real growth, 360-degree growth as far as the students are concerned, and they will obviously get a multi-dimensional report card whenever they are ready. Now, if I had to compare the 20th century and the 21st century learning, 20th century, it was time-based. Here it will be outcome-based. Whenever I am ready, I will give the exam. The textbook-driven, research-driven. Here the focus is more on the research rather than just having read the textbook, do the Rattampatti and try to get a 90%. That's not the focus. Passive learning here is going to be active learning. The teacher-centric, here student-centric. Student will do the study whenever as per his convenience, whether he's working, not working, and so on. Currently it is fragmented curriculum. Here it is integrated. There is no segregation between arts and commerce and so on. Then 28th century printed assessment. Here the multiple forums access. multiple people will able to access your progress. Like as I said, that the teachers, parents, self, peers, and so on. 21st century, it is multimedia based. There will be a lot of collaboration and a higher order thinking. So, like I mean, if you remember the movie which came few years back, the Three Idiots, that it is the focus is going to be more of a practical rather than just going through the academics and trying to score 90%, 95%, and so on. And at the end of the day, what happens is I see in many places where even after doing the engineering, the students are they are not getting the job they wish. They have to do additional course or additional skill sets to get a job. So I've seen that a lot of engineers, they get a job which is not even fetching them 30,000 rupees. So, where we are going, unless until we have the required skill sets apart from your basic degree, things are not going to improve. Now, there are a lot of activities which education department is doing, like a lot of pilot studies are going on, digital infrastructure is getting built, online teaching platform, which is already released, like SWAYAM, Diksha, and so on. You must have heard about it, that teachers should play with. The content creation is another thing which will enable e-learning quite effectively, addressing the digital division. As I said, that some of the areas you may not have the internet, you may not have the required infrastructure. There you can send the required cassettes which are dynamic, which will be replaced at the regular intervals, and the digital device can be addressed. Virtual labs are getting built by various schools. Training for the teachers, which has already begun, or it will begin as and when the more platforms are available. Online assessment examination is getting worked out. Blended model for the learning. I mean, what I'm saying is you need not go for the complete online education. You can have the blended model, like in corporates now. You 2 days you come to the office, 2-3 days you work from home. Similar concept you can have, and laying down the standard. You can see the 3-star digital infrastructure, virtual labs, and training for the teachers. I think these are the 3 areas where school needs to start, building it, so that when the required platforms are available, not a surprise to teachers also, but they also need to be familiar with the new systems apart from the students. And digital education benefits and online education has made a lot of progress, and people are going for it. Like if you go to the integrated classes or the schools, what happens is it's all online. The syllabus is given to them, it is available online, and they study it and they go to the college for the practical. Similar concept is getting implemented in the schools. I mean, here the benefit is variety of programs student can take. He or she need not be depending on only one stream, and they can earn the certificate. Like a lot of people I've seen, they do a Microsoft certification, Cisco certification. Apart from that, they do a programming courses and so on, which enables them to get the jobs after they complete the graduation. The comfort, you need not go to the to this classroom every day. You can access the material or the syllabus from the home and study as per your convenience. Lower cost because students don't have to go to the school and commute. And this will help, but online education will help them a lot moving forward. Then the selfless learning, if the student is learning, he can still learn, and he can also do the jobs or earn. So that's that's focus. The self-paced. So like I seen that a lot of students, I mean many adult students especially, they go to the night school. The night school may or may not be required moving forward, because after I my daily routine job, I can do the learning as per my speed, my availability of time. It will make your life very. And obviously, all these things will curtail the dropout rate. We have seen that 7 out of 10 girls, they have shown a lot of improvements in the social and emotional skills and dropout rate has been dropped dramatically. And obviously, all these things will definitely help in terms of reducing the increasing the literacy, education, and reducing the dropout rates. And now the question is, are we capable of doing all these things? Answer is big yes, because we are already there. We are using in our day-to-day life. We are already using a lot of digital application like Google, whether it's a money transfer, ATM card, OTTs, daily soap, social media. There are n number of things which you already use. So who taught us? Nobody. Literally, if you are a senior, then obviously probably the things have been taught by your children's or maybe the neighbors and so on. But otherwise, it doesn't require any schooling or any education. It's very easy, user friendly. You need to interact with the user interface. You don't need to have the need to know the coding. So it's very easy, and it's going to be the future as far as ADP and digital education is concerned. So this is my last slide, and just the last one. This is my recent engagements with the ministry. Some of the overseas engagement I had. I had a couple of sessions on the sports also. And then a lot of suppliers are quite worried that what will happen to us in terms of the books or the notebooks, water bags, so on and so forth. So they had a forum in the Nehru Center, so they invited me to present there. And that's it from my side. So if anybody has got any question, I'll be delighted to answer it.
Sir,
Yeah.
they have spoken about having the multilingual approach in the primary section, but they are expecting us to teach in their mother tongues, not the state language either.
Correct.
So would you say that the teacher needs to be multilingual as well? So if there is a Tamilian child in a Maharashtrian classroom, a teacher should be able to take up English, Marathi, as well as Tamil?
Yeah, see here again, as I said in my previous slides, that obviously, if suppose the child is encouraged, I mean, if the NEP is encouraging student to have the education in the local language, then obviously you can't have the teachers in the Tamil also, Marathi also, Gujarati also, and so on. And that's the reason the online education, the content which they are creating will come into the play. Okay. So
third and fourth standard?
Yeah, they're creating the content for that also.
Okay. And assessment?
Because, yeah, go ahead.
Assessment?
Assessment also, they are creating the online tool, AI tool, which will help teachers to do the assessment online itself. Obviously, I'm not saying it will happen as of tomorrow. It will take some time because there's a lot of work which is going on. There's a lot of background content which is getting created. The training has to be given to the teachers and so on. So subsequently, it will happen in the coming years.
Yeah. So right now we cannot hold that as a criterion for teaching learning activities.
No, you can't, because I think the mandate has already come from the government side, right?
Okay.
That you need to do that, because I believe that they are published, so they have circulated a big document to various schools talking about the NEP in detail and how it will be implemented. Obviously, everything will not get implemented right from the day one. It is a phase-wise.
It will be phased out. It will have to be phased.
Because see, we are not ready. We are not 100% ready for this. You need to have the required skill sets with the teacher. You need to have the infrastructure. Then you need to have the assessment methodology. There has to be proper governance. So there are 10 different things which needs to be accomplished before we implement it in the full fashion.
Okay, you're right, sir.
Good evening, sir, and good evening everyone present there. Sir, I have missed out the initial part of the session. That's my, I would say that I'm sad luck, but then I thoroughly enjoyed, and it has been very enlightening. And I humbly request if we all could get the PPT of your presentation, and this will also help us to bridge the gaps in our schools, and we can also motivate our teachers wherever we need to. And I fully agree with that multilingual that you're talking about. Now, Marathi in Maharashtra, the Marathi is being the fever for everyone now, all school boards, and that is why it's challenging to all.
Right.
So thank you, sir. Thank you for guiding us. And I would really request the presentation part. And I'm sure sir and madam will take care of it.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I think if anyone has got any question, you can obviously divert it to Uma ma'am or the other faculties from the CRDE, and I can answer those questions.
Good evening to everyone. Just wanted to ask, now globally, English is it has been helpful to everyone. But now how it is going to be whether it is IB school or ICSE or CBSE board, it is going to be a common syllabus for everyone, right?
Correct.
So there also regional language will be given the first preference.
Yeah, here
in those boards.
see here again, I'm saying that I think we have to clearly understand the classroom education and the digital education, the remote education. See, it will be all driven by the online education. Okay, like the previous question, I mean, obviously she asked there's one Tamil student, how we can teach them because I don't have the faculty in my school. So obviously, I'm not saying that things will get implemented immediately because the content is going to.
May I make an observation, sir?
Yeah.
The teaching has to be in the mother tongue or the vernacular in the primary sections. When we talk about globalization and boards and going forward to other countries later on, it will be the higher education.
No, even in schools also, obviously, they are pushing for the local language education only, mother tongue.
Yeah, we have seen too many local language schools being closed down, sir. So many Gujarati and Marathi medium schools have closed down.
That's true, but I mean, this will get implemented quite seriously as I see. Though the NEP policy says that it's till 5th standard, they are going to force it. But their thinking is they should force it till standard 8. That's what they are saying. But somewhere we need to start, and I know what you're saying, that what will happen because English is a universal language, and when they go for the higher studies, what will happen? But I don't think that is a problem because what the studies shows, even in India as well as globally, that if the child studies in the local language, the grasping is much faster, understanding is much better as compared to the English language. Because in India, obviously, things are different, and this will, like, if you take the example of China, because the education is in the Chinese language, obviously English is subject there, but they never face any problem as far as India is concerned. Because see, I mean, it is also linked to the political motives also. One is obviously they need to have that independent, the made in India, where they want to have the Indian policies, Indian products, and so on. Because all our GDP data, what we have, is driven by the local consumption of the product, not by the global only. So basically, they're trying to push it. If you see the the arms sections also, like for example, tanks or the guns, a lot of things are now getting manufactured in India. Similarly, in the other areas also, where like cars, for example, the cars they are going to manufacture in India, we still may get a technology from the overseas, but the entire assembly or the entire production will happen in India. And they are pushing it that we should have it done in the local language. So that's what I mean, it is more of a, the political push and a global push.
I wouldn't call it a political push. It is more a sociological one. When a
Correct.
language dies, its culture dies. There are thoughts
Correct.
expressed in the language which are completely lost to our whole society.
I agree.
And we
Yeah,
become poorer
correct.
because of that.
Yeah, I think you use a right, correct.
Political, manufacturing is being done in Korea. They don't learn English for that.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, here we are fortunate that, we learn English also apart from our local languages.
Correct.
And see, there are a lot of areas where we have the Indian product line, but we are not in a position to improve it because most of the human skills are coming from the rural area and they don't understand the English and so on and so forth. So they want to promote it very aggressively moving forward. So it is good. People may think that what will happen when the people go abroad, and so English is going to stay. There is no doubt about it. But up to 5th standard, obviously they will able to learn our culture. They will able to learn in our mother tongue and so on. And as Madam said, that our culture will exist. So that's the whole point. So there are a lot of puzzles, and a lot of puzzles needs to be resolved by the education department, and they are working towards it. And we need to try and help them out in terms of implementing it.
I would like to add a little more.
Yeah, please.
I think it is not mandatory that we have to teach in local language or regional language. It's up to grade 6, it can be taught in regional language so that the student will be able to understand it, grasp it easily. And doesn't mean that we have to teach in that local language only up to 6th standard. And of course, as the medium of instruction is English will remain there. English will be one of the languages. So definitely, and majority of the people who are here might have studied in vernacular language and then gone ahead with the English. So it can be managed.
Yeah, you can have the hybrid model also. That's what I said in one of my slides also.
Actually, sir, sorry, ma'am, to interrupt. Actually, I am from vernacular medium, sir. So I studied till 4th standard in Tamil medium. And then from 5th standard, it was completely English medium. All the subjects were in English. So I found it really very difficult in the beginning to cope up with all the subjects in English. So I don't know. So just wanted to just get.
I have studied up to 10th standard in Malayalam. Then 11th only started English. Okay, definitely English. When you just shift from one language to another when the medium, definitely there will be initial for the 3 to 6 months, and later on we will start catching that also.
No, but anyway, we have the English as one of the subjects, so that's not a big issue because I studied vernacular language till 10th. After 11th, it was all English medium, but I did not find it difficult to cope up with the English language.
Yeah, I'm Mrs. Veena Donwalkar, HM Association Secretary of Mumbai. And I found the presentation very nice, excellent. And what he said was absolutely correct. Language can be acquired at any stage, but knowledge cannot be acquired. So the concept, if once the concepts are very clear, so things will move faster. So that's what NAPU always says. So let us clear the concept in the mother tongue so they learn it faster.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.
I would like, since majority of the educators here are ladies, I would just like to put it in a simple way to clear the concept for everybody what there is, When as ladies, when we are in our parents' house, our way of functioning, everything is different. But when we go to our in-laws' house, we get married. Initially, we all find difficulties, but in the due course of time, we grasp everything and we are experts at the way we do it. So it is something like that, So learning is and a lifelong process, and any language, anything can be learned at any stage of life. I don't think there should be a problem. Yeah, difficulties will be there. And as I said, difficulties will be in every aspect. Anything that is new, anything that we are not aware of will pose a challenge. But if we work towards it, I'm sure nothing is going to be very, very difficult. Nothing is going to be that difficult that we can't overcome it and do wonders in it. I'm sure about it.
Yeah, that's a superb example, huh, ma'am? That's very true.
But that's why I said we are majority of us are ladies, and gentlemen
Yeah.
do not face that problem. So
Yeah,
unless-
ladies can.
I don't mean only ladies can do this. I mean to say, so it is human nature, to feel little anguish, to feel little anxiety, something going into the unknown. It is human nature. So once we know, we gradually try to cope up with it, and then we get the hang of it. So nothing is difficult there.
What is more important is lifelong learning. That is a new concept that is there in NAP. That is, I think we should accept this as fast as possible.
I think well said, Veena madam, because I've seen even in overseas, even in US, UK, Canada, Australia, a lot of jobs people are losing because of the new technology. A lot of people doesn't know how to cope up with the new technology. So lifelong learning is must. It's not
Yes.
that you have completed engineering or you have completed medicine. Now you can, go to sleep and, enjoy. But that's not going to be the case. People are, they need to enhance their skills every now and then, even in IT.
During COVID, though, we learned this because we were not so much used to technology and we had to accept this new
We
way
have to
of
thank
learning.
COVID for the Zoom.
Yeah.
that too,
We are able to talk to each other is thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
that too, sir. Overnight, we had to transform into the online classes with the children overnight, and we have trained the teacher in just few hours that how to kickstart your next day class.
Yeah, I still remember screen sharing. We didn't know. We were doing Zoom, but when it came to screen sharing or preparing PPT, it was a very new thing for us. But we did it.
It was a great look. COVID has really taught us a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
So that's what I said. The lifelong learning is there. Lifelong learning is there, and we should accept this.
Yes, yes, yes. See, as
Yes,
I said,
ma'am.
also
Yes.
nothing is impossible. It may be difficult, it may pose problems, but nothing is important. If we could learn something that was totally new to us, I'm sure a subject which is taught at the lower level, we will be able to cope up with it in the higher classes. So
See,
it's not going to be difficult.
A good example is your mobile phone. The small kid, he can go to the sabji wala and pay the money using the UPI.
Yes,
Or
yes.
and
Yes.
all the ladies, they watch their daily soaps on their mobile. Who taught us? Nobody. Literally nobody. It's very easy. It's user friendly. We don't have to worry about the back end technology. You have to only worry about the front end. What you get, computer says press this button, press this button.
Yes.
Simple, as simple as that.
Yes.
So it's going
And
to
most of the teachers over here, they will also accept that the methodology that we learned in B.Ed has completely changed. The lesson plan itself, 5E and all has come.
Yes.
We learned
Yes.
it.
Yes. Sir, we would like to have another session with you. It is, I think it's, we are still hungry for it.
They definitely will have it. Only thing is, you tell me what should be the focus area. Accordingly,
Yes.
I will mold my
Yes.
presentation and have it in
Yes.
much detailed fashion.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'll encourage you to, involve the parents also, because there's a lot of confusion in the parents'
Right.
mind also, saying that, okay, what's going to happen and so forth. So that will
Yeah,
be
maybe we
more.
can think on those lines. We can think on
Yes,
those
sir.
lines. And
Yes.
when you are your next session, maybe we can think on those lines wherein Invite can be
Correct.
sent to the parents also to clear their doubts. Can be done.
And
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah,
the need
we'll
of the
think
hour is
about
the
it.
sorry,
That's true.
sorry. The need of the hour is the emotional, burst that the children having these days. I mean, controlling them, it's becoming very difficult, and they are hooked on to. Even the parents are complaining that my child is only hooked on to the social media. It's becoming, and they become very aggressive. They are hitting the parents. One parent cried the other day that my child hits me and pushes me because if I take out and hide the laptop or if I hide the mobile, that too I'm talking. I mean, to this extent, our youth is,
Right.
Yeah,
heading for.
yeah,
I mean,
very
that's very
true. That's
sad.
the behavioral changes pattern. Behavioral changes pattern also needs to be talked about.
Right.
I mean,
Yes, we would
our
like to do
generation,
sessions on this.
especially even the kid of 4 and 5, is so prone
Gurukul,
and using a mobile to such an extent. And I think it is parenting also, where parents also are using excess. I mean, they are more using mobile. They are on social media. So parenting on this issues also has to be
So
addressed.
here, see, there are pros and cons also. I mean, people talk about child accessing the sites which they're not supposed to access. Obesity is another issue. Children doesn't go to the for playing and so on. So there are ways to tackle this, and that's a reason if suppose the child is not doing those activities which we used to do in the earlier days, so come out with the different activities where children will be involved. Like that reason that the cultural activity center, the social activity centers which are getting emerged quite effectively, and we should send them there so that they spend more and more time in those areas where all these things will be more interactive. Because I've seen many students. I mean, I met few students where they got more than 90%, but they are not able to communicate. They don't understand what I should do next. 90% to milk, yeah, I've done a lot of studies. My mother has done it. My parents have done it. But after that, what? If they're not able to interact. See, the soft skills are also equally important moving forward. Otherwise, things will be difficult for these children's.
Yes. There has to be a balance of everything. Otherwise, just focusing on one aspect will not help.
No, there are pros and cons. I mean, when the computer came into the bank, there was a lot of opposition from the bank union saying that we will lose a job, we will not do this, we will not implement the ATMs because the cash there will be no cashier, so on and so forth. But what happened? It's a need. It's a need, and what's happening is we are not even going to the branches. I haven't gone to my bank since last maybe 1 year, but it is not required. It's all online. You make the
Yes,
mobile bill payment to your mobile. You make the electricity payment with your mobile. So everything is online on your fingertips on your mobile. Yeah? So you know that when you go for the walk, you know that how many steps you walk, what's the heart rate. So
correct.
Madam, can we have one more session on artificial intelligence? Because that is a great threat to the youngsters also. And it is useful to the teachers also.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are going to plan it. We are
Correct.
planning to
GPT,
have
Yeah.
a session.
GPT, chat and all.
That is in one of the things that we are planning. So very soon we will be doing that also. Any other queries? Anything you wish to discuss? And sir, we will surely get in touch with you. Whatever you please put in your suggestions, and so that we will look into it, and accordingly we will have to then approach sir, because as you said you would like to have another session with sir. So let us look into what are you looking at, what areas do you want sir to focus on, so maybe accordingly sir can be informed about it. Anybody wishes to ask anything? Any query or anything? You all have our email IDs, and if you wish to put in your suggestions, you can email it to us on crd.info@gmail.com, or you can send on WhatsApp your suggestions to 9821416591. Sir, your number also, please, could you say? I don't remember it by heart.
It's on the screen. I mean, screen is.
No. Suresh, sir.
Okay, Suresh.
9867 163696.
Yes. And my number is always there in the invite. So you know that number. So you can, your suggestions, you can put it up. We'll be happy to look into it and accordingly arrange a session.
Thank you
I
so
think-
much. Thank you so much.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
we can, should we end it, sir? Suresh, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Uma ma'am, over to you.
Yes.
We would like to thank sir for his precious time and giving us such inputs, beautiful
Yes.
input.
Suresh sir has, on behalf of everybody, put a big thank you to sir.
Thank you.
And,
Deepana.
Yeah.
yes.
Now,
Veena-
before we
Veena
end
ma'am.
the session, let me take this
Veena ma'am, you are from which school?
I am from Chhatrapati Shivaji Vidyalaya. I am the secretary of HM Association, Mumbai.
Is that
Yeah.
somewhere in
That
Dharavi,
is
ma'am?
Headmasters Association.
Okay.
Headmasters
Ma'am, is that
Association.
school in Dharavi?
Yes.
I think I have met you, you know.
Yes, of course, madam, you have met me.
I have met you. Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am, officially you can.
Yes.
Uma ma'am.
Thank you. At the outset, let me sincerely thank Mr. 𝐷𝐿𝐼𝐵. In spite of his tight schedule, he has put it up so well how to implement. See, everybody knows this national education policy has been there since 2020. But then yet, each in a very systematic way, and how it can be implemented in different ways at different age. Thank you so much, sir, for your input. And let me sincerely thank all the educators for their valuable inputs. Ambuja Iyer ma'am, Saroj ma'am, Veena ma'am, Manjula teacher, Jayashree ma'am, Deepa Desai ma'am, of course, and sorry, Suresh Nair sir, of course. Thank you so much. And I sincerely thank Dr. Suresh Nair and Deepa Desai ma'am for giving me this opportunity to host the webinar. Last but not the least, let me sincerely thank the technical support for their cooperation. Thank you so much.